On May the 1st, 2016, Darkside Phil was caught playing with his Wii, and I don't mean Nintendo. For some reason, 10 years later, he decided to give us more context regarding the incident, including many details that would make it a lot more embarrassing than it already was. And it already was very embarrassing. So let's watch this clip. This is courtesy of DSPGout on Twitter. And let's see what we got to say about it, buddy.
Talked about this many times. I don't shy away from talking about it because the real reason that I survived the incident is because I owned it and because I made a joke out of it and I laughed with it while the whole world was laughing at me. I laughed too.
That is not true. First of all, he tried to hide it, but it was one of those things when he was caught completely in the corner. It was so obvious what he was doing, he couldn't have lied about it and try and pass it off as if it was something else. So of course, the only thing he had to do is just eat it and take it and embrace it. So for this, he really doesn't deserve much credit because there's absolutely nothing else he could have done to make it better or less embarrassing.
I feel like if I had done it the opposite and instead I had been like offended or tried to hide it as a secret or said it didn't happen, it would have been very poorly for me. You know?
Yes, because no one would believe it anyways. And not only would be a guy who touched his PP live on YouTube, you would also be a guy who lied about it and everyone could tell.
It probably would have been the end. But instead I treated it like, you know, a stupid, embarrassing, funny thing that could have happened to anyone, and it panned out well. Now,
it panned out well, by the way. This is one of those mental gymnastics, one of the signature DSP narcissism mental gymnastics of trying to twist something negative, something objectively negative into a positive. And the matter of fact is, no, he doesn't deserve any credit for taking it head on. When it comes to a masturbation incident, he doesn't deserve any respect. Because really, he couldn't have stopped streaming. Because many people would be so embarrassed, they would probably get off the internet. But he couldn't have stopped streaming. He couldn't have stopped being a public figure. So he just needed to embrace it and be the guy that jerked off, which he still is and always will be.
To be honest, I feel like I am pretty lucky in that regard. I feel like, I don't know, I just feel like I was a unique guy in a situation where so many people on the internet at that point were already making fun of me for like, this is how you don't play and stuff, that it didn't really matter that there was another thing.
It absolutely definitely did. The masturbation incident, in my opinion, is the one instance of him doing something that has damaged his public perception irreparably. And it has caused people to never be able to take him seriously as a YouTuber, as an online content creator, because he will always be the guy who jerked off. Like it or not, he will always be that. And that prevents people from taking him seriously and from actually respecting his opinions and his stances on things. Because jerking off on the internet by accident is objectively goofy. And people will associate that with him, and he will be goofy by extension. And before that, of course, people were making fun of him being bad at games and being a toxic and mean person. But nothing came close to doing as much damage as the fappening.
They were trying to tack on that was embarrassing. If everyone is already saying this guy is a joke, he's a bad gamer and all of this, keep in mind this was before I was an interactive streamer. I didn't do anything like I'm doing right now. It was more just doing raw playthroughs and trying to put out quality playthroughs, right? So here we go. Here we are. So yeah, like, because already people had kind of made me out to be a joke on the internet and stuff like that, I think that's why I was able to laugh it off and people laughed at me.
He definitely did not laugh it off. Don't get this the wrong way. He definitely did not laugh it off. He was seething, he was mad, but also he knew he could not fight it because it's objective. It is out there. It is an embarrassing thing, and everyone knows and can see it, and they will make fun of him. And they still make fun of him to this day.
Like, if it was...
So no, this is just a pathetic cope that we're looking at right now.
first time you ever heard about DSP and that's what you heard, you probably would have been like, what the hell? Who is this degenerate?
What the hell?
But people already knew who Darkside Phil was.
Yeah, they already knew he was a degenerate loser, so they weren't even all that surprised. That's what he's trying to tell you. He was already a living meme, so people wouldn't even be that shocked at discovering that he's a living meme.
Oh my God, now that's an embarrassing thing that happened to him, right? Also, let's be very honest here. I was very lucky that absolutely nothing was shown. Because the truth of the matter is, nothing was shown whatsoever. Nothing. It was just my stupid O-face, awful resolution, peach fuzz, no audio. You didn't see what I was looking at.
Yeah, thank God my masturbation incident was not in HD. Thank God for that. It would have been so much worse. Which, I mean, yeah, you're right. But still, it just sounds like a cope here, man. It just sounds like you're trying to find the silver lining in a really bad situation. Which kind of makes you look even more embarrassing, considering that this happened in 2016 and we are now 2025. It's been over 9 years of this. If it didn't actually matter, then just don't talk about it and get over it. But it did matter. It did matter because it hurt people's ability to take him seriously. And no one ever takes Darkside Phil seriously because he is fundamentally unserious. So obviously, that is going to piss him off.
There was no nudity or anything. No, really, it was not true sexual content. There's more sexual content shown in a movie like American Pie than was in that clip, right? So I was very lucky, because if I had shown anything, or if there was actually audio that had been captured or something, oh boy, that probably would have definitely been like not able to come back from. But I did get lucky in that regard, okay? Now, a lot of people say, well, how did that whole go down and everything? It's honestly, it's a pretty simple story. It's just a sad one. And I've told it before. Some people...
It's not sad at all. It's not sad at all. What you're about to hear is a man trying to twist events that happen in a way to make him look even more sympathetic and make him look like a victim, but it only makes him look pathetic.
Accuse me of faking it? Are you insane? You think I would fake something like that?
Yeah, that's stupid.
My most embarrassing...
People thinking faking it.
And like the one silver lining I take out of it is that no matter what happens to me for the rest of my life, I've already experienced my most embarrassing moment. There's no way I could have a more embarrassing moment than that.
Hey, I don't know, man. Shoot for the stars. It might happen one of these days. There might be a great moment out there.
Really? Like, what else could there be more embarrassing than that?
I don't know. So you can always try.
Out of my system relatively early. Right? I floored the brakes and the truck didn't stop. I don't know what happened. I floored the brakes and the truck didn't stop. God damn it.
And he crashed the truck.
All right, well, this car is just not going to move. I got to back up. It doesn't seem to want to move.
All right, we got to wait for Grandpa to pull out the parking lot.
All right, so that's called momentum. Oh, I don't know.
Because the guy unironically cannot speak and drive. He actually can't do it. He can't multitask that bad.
Anyway. So.
This is why he's a living meme. Even if he had never jerked off, he would still be the online leper. The guy that people would throw tomatoes at on the internet. He would still be that.
In regards to...
Jerking off is just a thing that is really funny to like casual online users who know about them, because that's an easy way of somebody finding out about you and then thinking that that's all you're about is just this goofy silly shit, and then never giving you the time of day because you're just goofy and you're silly and you're not serious.
To the incident, now that this, the most embarrassing moment has happened, you know, I honestly think like things have
now is the second most embarrassing moment, trying to explain and rationalize it.
Gotten better since then, honestly, if you want to know the truth. That really was the low point of my life. So what's the story behind it? It's not complicated at all. At that time frame, things were falling apart for me. This was 9 years ago, okay? Things were falling apart for me piece by piece my entire life. So first of all, I moved out here in 2014. I lived in Connecticut originally, but I basically spent like all of my money that I had earned on YouTube for this move, to buy the house, to move across the country, to furnish the house, and some, I overspent, basically expecting that I was always going to make the same amount of money. Within 2 years of me moving, my income was like halved. So I was completely screwed because I was already up to eyeballs in debt.
It's absolutely typical dark side Phil behavior, and I'm sure he's gonna do this again someday. Now, of course, not exactly in the same way as moving across the country, but he's gonna overspend and he's gonna end up in the same position. I can almost guarantee you. It's in his DNA to do dumb shit like this.
I didn't see a way out of this financially. I thought that I had completely screwed myself up entirely for the rest of my life. So just that, okay, was one big problem that was going on. Then my personal life started to unravel. You know, I was with a significant other. I'm no longer with her since 2017, by the way. My current, you know, my wife and everything.
Okay, next clip.
Entirely for the rest of my life. So just that, okay, was one big problem that was going on. Okay. So anyway, I had been with this, you know, this girl for a while, and we decided to move and start a life together. And at first it was fine, but basically as soon as stuff started to happen, like financial issues and heavy trolling on the internet, basically our whole relationship fell apart. Like, we just stopped wanting to spend time together. We didn't really talk that much. We lived in the same house, but we weren't really interacting that much. She went off and got a job for herself and was hanging out with her own friends while I was at home all the time working to pay the bills and keep the house, basically. So...
Was she not paying the bills and keeping the house? He's trying to frame it like he did everything, because that's what he wants it to be. That's what he wanted it to be. Even though, I mean, come on, Panda Lee was a gold digger. If this guy had any redeeming qualities whatsoever, is that he had clout on YouTube and he had money. And then after 2014, he moved across the country and then he didn't have money. And the clout sucked because people made fun of him playing video games to the point where he was kind of a meme in the gaming community. So he had no redeeming qualities. He was just an old, ugly dude that would just sit there and play video games all day. Of course she's gonna fuck off and go play with her friends.
The entire thing had fallen apart. I mean, it got to the point where we weren't barely talking or interacting, and it sucked because, you know, at that point there's no privacy. We live in the same house, so how do you have any privacy to yourself when you're living with someone who's almost just like a roommate, right? It was just messed up. Now the thing is, we didn't want to tell the internet about that because everyone would just turn it into drama. So well,
yeah, you would go on the internet and notify them of literal drama going on in your life, of dramatic events in your life. You're making the drama.
We lied and we fibbed and we basically made a bunch of stuff up constantly. There was a couple times we tried to make it.
Yeah, this guy loves lying to people on the internet. And he loves in specific situations where he could have just said nothing. You can just say nothing. You can just say nothing. But he would rather lie and make up elaborate scenarios and then pretend like he was forced to lie. His hand was forced, you guys. He just had to. There was no way around it.
We went on a trip once to Seattle, and maybe this trip is like kind of the last straw where we'll click again and things will work out. But it just didn't work out. This,
by the way, in case you got distracted or forgot, this is all context behind why he masturbated. That's it, by the way. We're still on that topic.
To fail, it really wasn't a good relationship to begin with, to be honest with all of you, okay? Anyway, so my personal relationship was falling apart at the seams. I was up to my eyeballs in debt. I was constantly being trolled all the time.
You know what's gonna fix it? A quick wank.
And so basically,
oh, the camera's on.
Was that this room, this office, as I called it back then. Now I call it more of a studio because I have so much fancy stuff in here now. But back then I just considered it my office, right? My workspace. This was literally the only room in the house where I could be private, where we didn't have a shared space where she would have access to it. You know what I'm saying? When I was in here and the door was closed, that's me time, right? Problem being...
Don't say it like that in this context. That's me time. And then he claps with his hands. Come on, you greasy asshole.
Yes, she had a job, so there was a few times a week when she went to work. For the most part, the only time that I got to myself, to be for myself here, was here in this room. So how did this situation happen? Well, I was insanely stressed out. We weren't really together. You know, I was at my wit's end. I wanted some private time, and I idiotically tried to squeeze in some private time at the only time that I could, like literally as I was starting my work stream, which is the stupidest thing you could possibly do, but it wasn't like I was in my right mind. I was insanely stressed out. I was doing dumb things. I mean, daily people were baiting me into doing rage bait shit on stream, and
What? So, okay, so he wasn't in his right mind when he masturbated, because that was a result of people trolling him on his stream, and he was like, oh, I can't take it anymore, I need to bust a nut. And then he hid in his office, which is the only space that he asked for himself, and then he just did it, and he wasn't even thinking about it. He was just so distracted with all the stressful stuff going on in his life.
My life.
That actually makes it a lot more pathetic and shitty, dude. And it kind of makes it seem like his girlfriend was the victim, if you think about it. Because imagine this: you move across the country, you have nothing. You're in a relationship with a guy who has everything, and you trust him and commit to him, and you move across the country, and this sad motherfucker, this rat-faced piece of shit, spends all his money. And then, like, within a couple of months, he's like, yeah, but we got no money anymore. And years go by, your relationship falls apart, you go off and you try and be happy for yourself and find friends and a job. And one day, one of your friends is like, yo, you're not gonna believe this. Is that your fucking boyfriend that's viral on the internet for jerking off? Yeah, I think she's kind of the victim in this scenario. Because she was so dependent on him, and he fucking dropped the ball at every turn, and in the end blamed her. It's so epic.
So very different. I'm much wiser. I'm older.
He's much wiser. He would never masturbate nowadays. He would make sure to turn off the camera. That's how wise he is. But he would obviously never masturbate because he's not depressed anymore. His life is good now, so he only has sex with his wife every day, like 6 times a day. They're busting, squirting, doing ass to mouth. It's insane. I've been there.
Usually, you know, fall for dumb shit like that. I do still sometimes, but not all the time. And things are just a lot different now. Okay, I'm so happy that I met my wife, and I'm happily married, and we have such a great life together. Like I said, my home life outside of this room is amazing. It's really, really good. And it's actually getting better now that things are better with support, where we can take extra days off. Like this week, we're gonna have an extra day off. We can spend time together. It's gonna be really, really good. Okay. But anyway, yeah. So this room was basically my one escape from this depressing life that I had behind the scenes.
That's also sounds super pathetic, because this girl was like 20 years old, and he was in his late 30s. Like, you see there's an age dynamic. He's supposed to be the older and more grown up, more mature person, and he's talking about this like he was 16. He was talking about this like legitimately he was like a teenager, and he had to hide from this abusive monster girlfriend that was barely legal. Come on, bro.
And
come on, this just making you look a lot worse. As my notification goes off on my phone, what's going on? Oh, I had an email about some sale on an online market. Let me see if there's something good.
I know that sounds messed up. It really was. Like, it really was dysfunction. It was a split existence where
No. Really, all it was is that he was salty that the woman that was cleaning up and doing his laundry and making food for him and bringing in a couple of extra dollars, she was gonna go away, and he would have to go through the whole process of finding a new one. That's what he disliked. Because he's explained this in the past many times. He framed himself as the victim, and the first reasons that he brought up about why he felt bad is that no one was cooking for him, nobody was cleaning for him, nobody was doing the laundry for him. By the way, he didn't know how to use his own laundry machine until he was like 38.
We had to keep up.
Yeah, this is a hopeless, helpless man-child. All of this explanation here, mental gymnastics, is some weird attempt to do damage control over a thing that happened like almost 10 years ago. And when you try and do damage control, usually you should try and make things better and not worse. And now he's making them worse by adding all this extra context that makes him look even more pathetic and worthless.
To make everyone think that we were still happy and together. I mean, I'm not even kidding. We basically weren't together almost the full 2 years.
And also, he cares so deeply about how the internet's gonna see him and what they're gonna say, and that the trolls are gonna win. if he announces his breakup, that he had to do this fake theater bullshit and pretending that they're together when really people wouldn't fucking care. Just break up. But yeah, that was also eating at him because he had to lead a double life. He had to lie to people about stuff again.
That we still lived together. Because remember, we moved out here 2014. I would argue probably it was around middle to late 2015 that the whole thing fell apart.
Yeah, he went broke. He went broke. She committed to him and he spent all the money. And then he's like, well, I got no redeeming qualities anymore. You can't even be a gold digger. There you go. And then I would leave too.
We still were together, but not really, until, what was it, like the beginning of 2017?
Is he gonna mention why he proposed marriage and they got engaged even though the relationship was completely dead?
It was February.
We're gonna talk about that?
Broke up and she moved out. So, I mean, think about being like a prisoner in your own house for like a year and a half. You're stuck with someone who you really don't have feelings for. They don't have feelings for you. You're trying to make it work. It's not working. You have no way to really be separated because it's not like this is a humongous house.
It literally is. For two people, this is a humongous house. You can literally have one floor per person. So this whole thing is insanely stupid and wrong. And it just shows how much of a privileged man baby he is.
Where like I can't live on the top floor and she lives on the bottom floor. Like,
yeah, you actually absolutely could if you wanted to.
You know what I mean?
No.
So, it was pretty messy.
He legitimately has rooms in the house that are dedicated to just being rooms where you throw boxes.
Up situation. And that's why it happened, because here I am trying to basically have a moment for myself of relief before a stream.
I wanted to have a moment of relief.
And I'm just trying to, like, you know, fit it in when I really can't do it at any other time.
Come on, you can't fucking wank it in the bathroom. What is this, man? Why are you doing this? This makes you look so bad.
Periodically, even trying to do it when the stream is live, that was insanely stupid.
It was insanely stupid.
Of course, now I know that and admit that.
This here is pretty dumb too.
Honestly, to be honest, remember, this was also the year when I was trying to rebrand myself as KO Gaming, and I was...
Oh, you definitely rebranded himself. People knew him. After May the 1st, people saw him in a whole different light.
Edited content channel on YouTube. So in my mind, things were already falling apart and it wasn't working. Like, YouTube was falling apart. I was losing money constantly, losing viewers constantly. My relationship was breaking up. My financials were awful. Everything was bad in my life. So I was like, fuck it. I don't even care anymore. I don't care about the risks I take. I don't care about nothing because nothing's working anyway. So who gives a shit? You know, I was really depressed. 2016, yeah, I was depressed that year.
People say, I don't care about this anymore. I don't care about the risks I take, and then they do something crazy. And this guy says, I don't care about the risks I take, and just masturbates on camera. Come on, man. You're not a demon. You're a fake demon.
I wouldn't be surprised if you look back at stuff I did in 2016, shaking my head at like, geez, this guy was so angry at everything. I really was.
Unlike now. Now he is so calm and so chill.
We're turning out that way. I thought that I was basically going to have to stop doing YouTube, and I was going to probably have to give up the house. That's what I thought ultimately. That I was going to have to lose my house.
Hey, come on, man. Don't worry about that. There's still time for that. That might still happen, hopefully. Fingers crossed.
My relationship. I was probably already going to lose my house. I was going to lose everything. You know what I mean? So it was just a really messed up time. But like I said, I'm glad I got past it, and now I'm stronger for it. The most embarrassing thing that could have happened to me has already happened, and now I have the rest of my life to...
No. Let's not make it seem like something that he should have gone through in order to be the person he is today. That's absolutely avoidable. He could have definitely avoided it, and there's no silver lining to that. There's no silver lining. It absolutely hurt his business, it hurt the public perception of him, and it probably hurt his relationship too, even though that thing was over.
Instead of worrying about what's the next thing, there is no next bad thing. Really. It's already all behind me, the worst stuff.
Awesome. And a nice celebratory sip.
Okay, I know that was a long story, but it is a long story.
Definitely a long story. Definitely a long story. So that's going to be it for this video. Thanks for watching. Subscribe if you subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Keep it flat, stay sway, and yong out.